Hey there, sixth graders. We are going to take a break from reading the novel this week and make sure we get some important historical information about what was really happening during the Dust Bowl. So first, let's make sure we know when and where the Dust Bowl took place. If you take a look at your map right here, you will see that anything that's in this darker brown right here is an area where it was considered at least a part of the Dust Bowl. It was affected by having really bad soil and poor farming. And the yellow area were areas that were damaged by dust storms. That because the land was so bad, anytime there was wind, it came up and created a dust storm. And then you can look at this red area right here. What is that? Right, that's our most severe dust storm damage. And actually, right up here in the western part of Oklahoma is where Billy Joe lives. So, some other important details to make sure that you know about the Dust Bowl. Go ahead and jot down these details in blue. Important stuff about the when and the where, or our setting. It took place in the 1930s, and this area is called the Midwest. As you can see, it's like the middle of the country, but a little bit farther west, also known as the Great Plains region, because there was a lot of farming here, and it was mostly plains as the terrain. Another important detail, this was during a time called the Great Depression, where while the Dust Bowl was bad right here, the whole country was very poor, and it was a difficult time for America at this time. So when we're thinking about Billy Joe, we know she lived in this red area and there was this Great Depression going on in the whole country. Naturally, it makes sense. Her life was a little bit tough. But what was it that could have caused this? Why is it that all of a sudden there was this area where there were really bad dust storms and farming was really bad? Go ahead and jot this down. Over farming because of success. This means that there was at one point where farming here was so successful that people grew a lot of wheat. And what happened was that it kind of destroyed the land. They grew too much, didn't give the soil enough time to be taken care of and fostered properly. So as a result, within a few years, it became really sandy ground that wasn't able to be farmed on anymore. So as a result, then it turned into dust grounds. And in an area that was windy, the wind and the dust then equaled those dust storms. Because before, when it was windy in the area, it wasn't a problem. It just fell on fertile soil. But now, thinking about how did this end up coming to an end? What were some responses that came from our government at the time when thinking about this being a really difficult time to live during the Dust Bowl? Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Who was he? Yeah, he was the president at the time. And how do we know that? Right, well, from our text, we know that Billy Joe named her brother after him. So he was the president at the time, and he stepped into a really difficult situation. But he was known for passing many different laws, policies, creating committees, and passing different acts that were committed to ending the Dust Bowl. People loved FDR, the president, because he himself would go and visit these areas and see how bad it was and think, what can I do to make this even better? So we know that FDR, as he was usually called, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, played an important role in ending the Dust Bowl. Go ahead and make sure you have all this down. So this week you are going to be reading 3 different articles about Franklin Delano Roosevelt's role in ending the Dust Bowl. Each article is going to present to you different information about what he did to make sure the Dust Bowl ended. Go ahead and look on to the next video when you're ready.